there's just so many trends happening at this intersection of commerce, content, and media. There are consumers interacting with commerce platforms in brand new ways. There are technology companies that are bringing retailers that historically didn't think of themselves as either advertising platforms or content areas where people are consuming content, and really bringing them into this new age. So very happy to have Sean Turner, CTO and co-founder of Swiftly, Sandeep Kella, CEO and founder of Pacvue, and Vincent Yang, CEO and co-founder of Firework with me today. Want to have each of you guys just do a brief introduction of yourselves. But as preparing this, one thing I realized that these three companies have in common that's pretty incredible. You're all focused at this sort of convergence of content and commerce coming together. You're all less than 6 years old and all have been valued at over $1 billion in the private markets in the last couple of years. So clearly a ton of innovation. What's fascinating is you guys are all coming at this from very different perspectives. So there may be aspects where you overlap in trends, but the businesses are all fundamentally different. So Sean, can you kick us off and introduce yourself and Swiftly?
Happy to. Sean Turner, co-founder, CTO at Swiftly. When we help brick and mortar retailers to own their digital customer relationship, to create digital real estate through their mobile app, their website, their other marketing channels, and then to monetize that real estate through retail media. When you look at a lot of the opportunity in this space, one of the things that we see is there's a lot of return to brick and mortar commerce. So e-commerce, especially in the fast-moving consumer goods space, is only about 10 to 15% of purchases. Consumers during the pandemic went to online delivery models, but they're increasingly going back into stores. And we found a big opportunity in helping to leverage technology to make that store experience that much easier, help consumers save money, find products that they love, and return and draw back to their store.
Great. Sandeep?
Yeah, my name is Sandeep Kella. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pacvue. We're basically a software platform that sits across 90+ retailers. And the simplest way to think about us is that we help 75,000+ paying customers drive more revenue. And the way we do that is we take their operational data, we take data that we know about their category, all the insights around their category, and we help them leverage that to drive customer acquisition through retail media platforms. So we do this across, Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, Target, Kroger, et cetera. I mean, there's a new one popping up every single day, it seems.
Great. And Vincent?
Yeah, so what Firework does is, the easy way to think about it is we're the B2B version for TikTok. So essentially, we help all the commerce and business on their own website to use video to drive their conversion rate and engagement. So we have 3 products. So most of people know us for shoppable videos. So if today you visit Whirling Sonoma, you go to Gap, you go to Legos, they are all of our customers. So they want their own website to look like TikTok, right? Because the shopping happens on a website. So that's our first product. And then along the way, we started to evolve. We launched a very big one called virtual showrooms. So essentially take the in-store experience to bring it onto the website, also through videos. We also launched one-to-one video. So if you think about Neiman Marcus and et cetera, I wanted to have a one-to-one engagement with the sales associate. You do that as well. And then next month, we're launching our digital human. I think the presentation Jeremy talked about is the content, because we all are in the content business, in particular video. It's very difficult to create. So we spend a lot of time, how do we make video creation easier and easier? So our new digital humans is you don't even need a sales associate to create content and to engage. So that's kind of what we do.
So Vincent, you said you guys are essentially, the B2B side of TikTok, but you guys founded the business in 2017, right? So TikTok was not on the rise in the US in the way it nearly is today. Back then, the focus on social commerce and buying and live stream, not nearly what it is today. I think now people are seeing the writing on the wall there. What was it in 2017 that you guys were seeing that sort of led you to jumping into this space?
Yeah, so we made a major pivot. So when I started business, it was similar to TikTok before TikTok entered the US. I'm sure everybody see it. I think video is much better than image and text. So that's why we made a bet is, we want to launch a short forms video. So Firework started as an app similar to TikTok. And then I thought I'm good at fundraise. I raised about 30 million in Series A. And at the same time, TikTok raised 5 billion. So very soon you realize short video game is a winner takes all game. There's only one players. So TikTok crushed us by using capital, et cetera. So we're about to be dead. And then suddenly we say, okay, we can't compete in a B2C market, but what about the millions and millions of D2C website and e-commerce? And in the US, very different from China, people do not buy inside of a social media. People buy on website, isn't it? So that's what we're saying, can we use the technology with video streaming to help brands, to help websites to become a B2B? So we made a major pivot, almost company go down to close to 2 to 3 people and build it back again to right now over 300 people. We raised close to $250 million so far, just now the largest one as the B2B version for TikTok, almost like Amazon versus Shopify. So this is how we compete with TikTok. That's what we're doing right now.
Got it. Yeah, and so very much in that lens of Shopify versus Amazon, you're not the consumer doesn't know you're there, right? You're really infrastructure sitting behind. Sean, I think you guys are very similar, right? You're really bringing brick and mortars that don't have as much of a digital presence into this digital ecosystem. And this is almost the opposite of what your prior business was, right? You were one of the leaders in product at Symphony Commerce that helped CPGs and other big brands actually start selling things online. Now you're saying, actually, no, we're going to help you sell things offline, but make sure there's a digital component to it. Can you just talk about that transition and how you guys came to see that?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one because when you look in the US market, retailers provide a service to consumers, and they provide a service to consumers in their merchandising and helping consumers to discover new products. And in many cases, especially you think about the grocery vertical, it's cheaper to get a product in the grocery store than it is to get it delivered. Because at the end of the day, you still have to overcome the unit economics of somebody's got to put it in a box, ship it to you, and that's a lot of cost. And if you think about a $3 toothbrush, that's the shipping cost can exceed the cost of the product. So what we found, and one of the insights that we had is actually even going back to a previous experience. When I was at Microsoft, I built the Starbucks app on the Windows platform. And I don't know if anybody saw my Trenta this morning, but that was my second for the morning. What we did with Starbucks was figure out how to get consumers to go into a store more often and how to buy more when they're in the store. And what we found was that, one, consumers really engage with mobile apps in the brick and mortar experience. At the time, that was kind of revolutionary. You think about Starbucks' mobile ordering program and their loyalty program, it was mobile only. There was no web equivalent. And they were able to build such penetration that it actually eclipsed even the value of their loyalty program, driving about 8.5% increases in customer spend. Well, we took those same approaches, think about it as the Star Dashes, the points-based program. We applied that to brick and mortar grocers. And we found that because grocery is so central to people's lives, the impact to consumer spend was even more. It's about a 31% increase in customer spend that you're able to drive. Think about that value from a retailer's perspective. If I can capture 31% more of my customer's wallet, that actually means that I'm leveraging technology, and customers only have so much space in their stomach. Those purchases are coming from somebody else. And that was a lot of our insight, was that really the competition and where brands are competing the most fiercely is in the brick and mortar store. It's in how do they engage their customer in that store. And that's really where retailers have the most opportunity to add value in that whole purchase journey. And so just like retailers today compete on the experience in the store, their merchandising, we really just brought that into the digital world and brought a digital component to what those retailers are doing.
Got it. So one thing you guys all have in common is you guys are working across a whole bunch of different retailers. You guys, Vincent and Sean, sort of inherently in your business, right? You're bringing retailers into this ecosystem. Sandeep, you've more transitioned with spend onto these platforms, right? I believe you guys started first and foremost on Amazon, where we talked about a $100 billion retail media opportunity. A lot of that is happening on Amazon, and now it's been growing. One of those challenges is, one, as you move to different retailers, is getting them up to speed, right? You guys are bringing media and content to companies that are not media and content businesses. Can you talk about just, and maybe all you guys can chime in here, but on that sort of challenge of pushing retailers into this world, how to think about interacting with their consumers, or in your case, really, starting a business line around monetizing their users on that side of things?
I think you had it in your earlier slide. It's not that challenging when you think about the gross margin associated with retail media compared to the rest of their business. So, Instacart's a great example of this, right? Like they were kind of squeezing pennies on every order, like you said, in the grocery space. And then suddenly they realized the retail media opportunity, monetizing their audience, and that's 90+% gross margin business, right? So what we're seeing is everyone's rushing to build this out, and the challenge is they're not typically technology companies. So they're leveraging platforms like Criteo and Citrus, but that's not enough, right? So technology is one piece, but then you've got to aggregate the demand.
Yep.
And what we see as a big opportunity is, Amazon's one thing, right? Amazon's retail media platforms, $50 billion this year. They're going upper funnel, so it's going to be much larger over time. Everyone, if you think about it, Amazon's retail media business is about 5 to 6% of their GMV.
Yep.
And that's sort of viewed as like a proxy for what good looks like. Just about everyone else is 1 to 2%. So there's a big opportunity to go up, but they need help not only bringing technology to bear to actually have the same systems that Amazon does. Some of them are trying to build it out on their own, but most of them realize that's probably a losing game. But once you've got the technology, you've got to drive the demand. And that's where we see a lot of opportunity, because you can aggregate that scale across, all of these long-tail retailers. So platforms like us can aggregate that scale and bring it to the brands.
Yep. I've certainly seen the stats on the 1 to 2 GMV. I think Andrew Listman, in a recent the eMarketer analyst, recently talked about actually a lot of that $100 billion is going to come just on the search side of things, right? So even at the enterprise level, there's a lot of work to be done. I guess over the next few years, do you guys see more of that media spend? Is it more about sort of tweaking that percentage for the biggest platforms, and therefore that's where most of the spend is going to be? Is it opening up the long tail more? It's a little bit of both, but do you see one being a bigger driver than the other?
I think it's going upper funnel.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look, I tend to think a good bet is to look at what Amazon's doing and sort of expect everyone else is a couple years behind or maybe more. And it's very clear for them, like, look, you can only saturate the search experience so much with ads. Like any of you guys do a search on Amazon, it's hard to tell the difference between an organic and an inorganic. So what they're doing is going upper funnel, right, into more discovery.
Yep.
Right, with Prime Video and other sort of surface areas. And I think you're going to see more and more people do that. And now what that leads to is these brands, you're going to start tapping into their brand budget versus just their shopper budget.
Got it. So Vincent, for your platform, you guys are bringing video to all these retailers, both big platform retailers as well as individual companies. So really more of an infrastructure play. As we talked about before, we're seeing the marketing technology stack, this whole notion around composability and customization. How much are you guys thinking about being a sort of out-of-the-box solution that people can come in and just plug in, or how much is customized on top? How do you think about that from a strategy perspective?
Yeah, so I think we are infra play. So we don't actually give people videos, right? We're just empty, very similar to Shopify. You have to do it yourself. But one question is, I think I had a aha moment about 3 years ago. Everybody thinking video wrong. Because I'm sure everybody, when I talk about video, you're like, oh, it's too hard, too expensive. I need to hire a celebrity. I need to think about it. It took a lot of money to create the videos. So that's the biggest challenge for our business, because we as an enabler. If retail doesn't know how to create videos by themselves, none of us can scale, right? So the understanding I have right now is it's not a content. It's just a conversations. It's not professional generated, we call PGC, right? Right now we focus a lot about EGC, employee generated content. Mm-hmm. You're not creating a video, you're just having a conversation, you're building a connections onto it. So many of our clients they all create video by themselves. It's just 5 minutes, 20 minutes, showcase the product demos. This is not a TikTok. This is what I call sitting on the website as a last mile. You don't need to go fancy. Is that how do we show the content to them? So what we are focusing really is on two things. One is on EGC. How do I empower brands to create video yourself? Very simple and easy. Another one is AIGC. How do we help you to create content without even use a human? So those are the two. People can customize. They can use all their ways.
I'm going to shift gears here and talk a little bit just about, in running a company and fundraising in this space. You guys are in a unique place where, media has had lots of funding, hype cycles and troughs. Marketing technology has similarly had that, and commerce probably has as well. You guys are sort of sitting at the intersection of the three of those. And have actually done very successful fundraisers even through 2022, post the 2021 hype. Just curious, like when you guys go and are talking to the market and thinking about it, do people think about you as commerce, media, or marketing, some combination of those? And where are you guys finding things to resonate? Maybe Sean?
Yeah, I'll start. One of the things that's interesting is if you look at the last 20 years of VC funding, the majority of dollars have gone into the e-commerce space. There has been very, very little investment in brick and mortar commerce. And I think one of the big eye-opening moments, particularly in 2022 for VCs, was looking as we came out of the pandemic, shoppers are returning to the brick and mortar store. And nobody has made investments there. And we've been building in that space for the past 5 years and had a pretty big head start. So I think we were very fortunate in that regard. I think the second trend that was a big catalyst for us was really the move towards consumer privacy. And I really liked your slide on first-party data. When you look as consumers, the one area where consumers are more than happy to give you their first-party data in droves is loyalty programs. You've got an inherent opt-in from the consumer. Consumers are demanding personalization, and you have explicit consent from the consumer to market to them. And so that's one of the kind of perfect storms that I think was very fortunate tailwinds for us in the fundraising environment.
Got it. So sort of the transition of where to focus on digitization and technology and commerce is really where you guys come about it. Vincent, what about you guys? You guys raised in 22, right? In May or June of 22. So again, in a more challenging environment, coming out with really, while consumers may be used to watching video, they're not used to watching those platforms. So how do you guys think about that? What was the sort of vision that people were bought in on?
Yes, because we, so far so good, because yes, consumer watch a lot of videos on Netflix, on TikTok, etc. But when consumer buy products, they go to lululemon.com, they go to williamsonomas.com. Right? In the US, less than 3% transaction happen on social media. 97% happen on website. So that's why for us, we're naturally sitting on top of it. Everybody talk about TikTok has 1 billion people per month watching videos, right? But people didn't realize every month there are 500 million, about 500 million people are watching videos powered by Firework globally, right? So that's the good part. But in general, I really want to de-emphasize about video more. I hope people can put us more into, right now everybody put us into commerce, content, right? Content, commerce. But I hope people put us more into human connections, because video is just a container. What it really contains is an emotional connection, a human connection. So how do we help to do that? So that's what we focus on.
According to Jeremiah, maybe an AI connection. So
yeah, that's why we have clients, Cathay Pacific is our customers. We have airline clients. We have insurance clients. Those are way more than just if you have a website, right? Your website pretty much looks very boring, just a product database. You wanted to really bring human connections, almost like a walk to a store, whether it's by a digital human, whether it's by a real humans. This is what Firework really focuses on.
So just final question here as we wrap up. Obviously, AI has been a critical part of everything we've talked about today. If you go to all your sites, every single one of you guys mention AI as part of your platform. Just what are you doing in AI today, and how is it helping drive your business?
So I can start. From an AI perspective, there is so much richness in consumers' purchase journeys in the store and how to leverage and build on the connection that retailers are making with consumers. And I think a good way to think about this, actually, kind of going back to my Starbucks days, what was special about Starbucks was that the barista knew your name and they knew your drink. But the problem with that is that didn't scale from one store to the other, so when you travel for work, you have to start over. Well, the thing with the app was the app remembers your drink. It remembers your name, and it extended that experience. And now think about, how do I take the limited menu that Starbucks has and apply that to a grocery store? I got 50, 60,000 SKUs. AI has the opportunity to take that personalized approach, understanding you, understanding your needs, your family, and then generalizing that across all the offerings of a retailer. And that's really where we've seen a lot of the technology be very, very effective. And as we get more and more computing power in the palm of your hands, we're experimenting with capabilities like actually directing you to the right products in the aisle, doing customized discounts for the shopper so that every shopper in the store is starting to have a personalized experience. And I think the more that we can deliver that personalization, the more consumers are going to appreciate it and build deeper and deeper connections with their retailers through technology.
Very good. Sandeep?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how many retail media platforms there are out there, right? And so we're really trying to play the long game of how do you simplify connecting, all these are just channels, right? It's what you laid out before. How do you simplify the experience of getting your products in front of the customer across all those channels? How do you leverage your first-party data to inform those decisions? And so a lot of what we've been spending time on, and it's a huge problem, it's a hard problem because each of these platforms have their own set of standards, right? And different data sets that are available. We're trying to simplify all that. It's really largely a mix of workflow and data science to help make better decisions across how do you allocate your dollars? Like, do you put it on Chewy.com or Bowl.com or Amazon or Walmart to make better connections between the brand and the customer?
Yep. Makes sense.
So we're doing two things. So the first one is amplify humans. So we launched something called AI Copilot in all of the Firework videos. If consumer has a questions, you ask a question, it was actually the AI answering that. It takes all the product description, et cetera. It's already live, so if you go to Fresh Markets, one of our customers, go to a video, ask any question about food and food recipes, they will answer very well. Right? We're not talking about AI, we already commercialized and take a live. That's the first AI Copilot to help humans to do better conversations in the video environment. The second thing we're about to launch is to replace humans. So literally is all we need a 3-minute video of a humans, and then I can create a digital twin of the humans. You visit a website, you have any question on Best Buy's product, right, at 2 a.m., right? So it's essentially a digital twin of associate of Best Buy will be answering your question, not through voice, not through text, but through videos, almost like a one-to-one video chat. This is something we're launching in 30 days. So these are the two things we're doing.
Very cool. Well, that's all the time we have. So thank you guys so much for coming up here. Really, really enjoyed it.